I started Alex the Organizer because I really saw that there was a need. You know, it's something that I've always been very good at, is being organized and good time management skills. But when I noticed that there are lots of people who weren't aware of professional organizing and who really could use the help, so I thought it was the perfect fit for a business for me. There are a lot of busy professionals. Oftentimes it's women who call me because women are in charge of the home. And sometimes people are just too busy, and other times it's because they need to learn the skills. Well, certainly I've worked with all sorts of different clients. I do senior move management, which is helping seniors make a transition to right size, because if the children are grown and the grandchildren are grown, a lot of people don't have a need for a big house. So certainly when they get to the point that if a spouse has passed away, or they're just ready to make a change to move into a smaller home or an apartment or a retirement or nursing residence, there's an accumulation of belongings. I also work with clients who, like I say, are busy professionals and who just can't find the time and are really searching to carve out time for themselves while they're juggling their families and their work and their partners and other responsibilities. And so it's helping them develop routines to be able to include all the things that they need to in their lives while still taking time for themselves without feeling guilty about it. I've also worked a lot with families with children, and I love to work with children because they're so receptive to the idea. And children are the same as adults. I mean, when we walk into a room that's overstuffed with large pieces of furniture and lots of stuff everywhere, children find it really overwhelming. A common occurrence that we think more toys are better. So the more toys children have, the better, the happier they'll be, the more intelligent they'll become because they've had all these opportunities. And what I like to tell to families is that really sometimes less is actually more. And if you're a family who really likes to provide your children with all sorts of toys, sometimes using strategies like rotating toys can be helpful so that they're not all out overwhelming to your child in their bedroom or playroom. Well, calling in a professional organizer is something people do. It's like, you know, you hire any other professional. So if your tap is dripping, you'd hire a plumber. If your car is making funny noises, you'd call your mechanic, or you'd go to the salon to get your hair done, or have an accountant do your taxes. So in those ways, professional organizers are available for people who just need some extra help and would either rather not do it themselves or having difficulty doing it themselves. It's a good time to call in a professional organizer when you're feeling overwhelmed. You know, when we've tried, everybody has the best of intentions that they're going to get organized, that it's a project they'd like to tackle. So I give a good example of a garage. You know, you walk in there, you look around, you think, man, we really should work on this. But who wants to spend their Saturday getting organized, right? I mean, there's always something more interesting for people to do. So hiring a professional allows people to dedicate that time, make the commitment, and know that at the end of the session, real progress will have been made, because a professional organizer is really there to motivate, to give support making decisions, and to keep people on task and remind them of what their goal is. And sometimes we need an outside unbiased person to help us recognize what's working for me, what's not working for me, how do I want to use my space, and what are my goals. First of all, I always do an initial assessment so that I can meet my client and they can meet me, which is really important because when you're working with someone to get organized, it's important that you feel comfortable with the professional organizer who you hire. So that gives people a chance to kind of test the waters and see if we could work together. The other important reason is because it lets me see their space. So after we have a chat about what's working for them and what's not and what their goals are, then I have people give me a tour of their space and point those things out so that I can have an idea of what the challenges are for that family. really considering the space that we have. And so just because something's on sale, for example, and it's a great deal, doesn't mean we should stock up with a few cases unless we have a place to store it once we get home. So considering for certain items, is that something that I have already? Do I have, when you're out shopping for something, do I have something similar that would make do? Is that something I could borrow from a neighbor or a friend or rent? And is that something I really need to own? And when out shopping, asking ourselves the question, why am I wanting to buy this? Because sometimes we do it just out of habit, as an activity to do, or because we're bored or sad or lonely or even happy. You know, it's all about decision making, and compulsive shopping is kind of one end of the problem, and on the other end is a hoarding tendency, because there's sort of things coming into a home, and then there are the things leaving. And of course we all bring things into our homes, and most of us can do a fairly good job of throwing things away or donating or letting go of things that don't serve a purpose in our lives. But oftentimes my clients may either be bringing too much into the home or may not be able to get rid of as much as they need to. Many of my clients hang on to items because they're waiting to find a purpose for something or an individual who would appreciate that item. And that's so important, because I really try to find a use for everything and not let things go to waste. I mean, that's really an emerging trend, is organizing in a green way so that we're not buying more than we need. First of all, it's good for the environment, but it's also very friendly to people's budgets, because they're not buying things for the sake of buying things. It really gives us a sense of control over our lives, and from that control comes that sense of peace. And that's what's so wonderful about doing the work I do, because in the end I help people feel better about their lives and more in control, and free up space for themselves during the day. And I love taking time to myself, and it's what really allows me to continue to go out and do the work and be for my family who my family needs me to be. And I couldn't imagine not having that opportunity. So to give that back to people who've lost it is so exciting.